Hey guys, Cheryl Nembhard here, and I gotta admit, I'm a little starstruck here on the path, and I'm tapping into my superpower with a very familiar face from DC's The Flash. Coming up next, we're speaking with the one and only Michelle Harrison, and we talk about her life as an actress, singer, wife, and mother, how she balances it all and well, how raising a beautiful Black son has changed her life completely and launched her into a world of social justice and change, what she has learned from the rock bottoms of her life, and her hopes and fears for the next generation. Guys, so good. You don't want to miss this powerhouse. Listen to it on all available podcast platforms or watch on our YouTube channel, and I'll see you on the path.
You're listening to On the Path podcast with Cheryl Nembhard. Follow Cheryl Nembhard on all social media platforms.
Oh my gosh, guys, I'm literally holding my breath. You have no idea how excited I am to be with, and dare I say, my girlfriend, my new girlfriend, the one and only Michelle Harrison from DC's The Flash is in the building, guys. Woo! Michelle, welcome to the path, girl. I'm so excited to have you here. You are a force to be reckoned with, but your heart, I can't wait to get into the inside of who you are and what makes you tick. And I loved our pre-conversation. We have similar heartbeats. So welcome, sister.
Thank you so much. So happy to be here. So happy.
I'm listen, and you're looking pretty. All right now. We have our cups. We're ready to go.
Coffee.
Yes, we do.
I like when I said to you, I said, is this on camera? Because it will determine when I can do this interview.
Right.
It's like I'm in calm mode or I'm in work mode. And I said, if I have an hour, I probably can't get all ready. And
listen, as I said to Michelle, because we're authentic here, I saw her and I was like, I didn't get the memo that we were like leveling up. I thought we were just
this is my makeup for the week. So you're getting the best of me. And
I love it. Oh, Michelle, I'm so glad that we're here just kind of chilling and talking. And, one of the things when I was thinking about talking with you, I think so many of us get caught up in the optics of things. We get caught up in the, dare I say, the Hollywood, the celebrity, the TV camera, the outside view. But the truth is, there's a lot that goes on in the life of people that we see on TV. They're real people, real situations, real problems, stuff that really shatters their heart. And I can't imagine what the past year and a half has been for you. If it's anything like mine, we're gonna exchange notes in a minute.
Yeah.
Girl, 2020 and 2021, right? Global pandemics, economic downturn, businesses closing, people losing jobs, losing life, losing family, racial tensions, political upheaval. I could go down the list. It is hard stuff. How are you doing? And as you're answering that, I gotta ask you, what are the big lessons that you're learning in all of these challenging times that we're in right now?
Wow. This year our family went through a huge sort of ordeal with our youngest son, who came to us via adoption about 6 months ago. And so our family was on our way to go and get our son from a small country in Southern Africa. And right in March, when pandemic hit, all the borders were shut down, flights were shut down, we couldn't leave the country, and we had to wait 7 months to go and get him. And so when you're kind of you're basically living by the news, like everybody was living by the news, waiting to see if a flight might open up, waiting to see if somebody could go, one of us could go, all of us could go, how long that would be. None of us just really knew. And so for us, it was like a year of waiting and trusting.
Wow.
And not really knowing, like anything in pandemic, when that would happen and when we'd be able to go.
I can't even imagine, I think about the journey of adoption and all that weighs on the heart and pulls on the heart, the emotions of it all, the ups, the downs, like you said, the disappointments, but smack dab against the backdrop of a global pandemic. How did that amplify what was already a tense time?
Well, I think it's just like your life. We had already waited almost 3 years for our son. And so, you're matched with this child, and essentially they are, this is your child, this is your son, and you can't get to them. And it's, we would have done anything to get to him. We had all these crazy ideas ahead of ways to get there, none of which
parachute in. Yeah.
Yes. But like, you actually think of any way that you can make it happen, which none of those ways were possible.
Yeah.
But, it takes a lot of mental strength to get through that, because there was really nothing that we could do. Yeah. And it was heartbreaking, because we missed a birthday with him. We missed, we were missing moments that we'd already, been waiting so long to have with him. And obviously as soon as he came, it was like no time had passed and it was fine. It's like anything, right? As soon as it's, done, you can relax, but adoption is the most amazing, beautiful journey our family has been on, but it was also hard waiting. It was hard because we had no control.
And, let's help someone now. It's this, it's that premise of being on the path, the idea that we're all students of life, but teachers at the same time, as we go through. What did you learn throughout that whole, what was maybe a big lesson that came to you throughout all of the waiting and the trusting and all of that?
I learned to let go of control, which is, I think, my path in life always. I learned to have faith in bigger things that are beyond me, that I think it just all goes into letting go of control and knowing that there's a bigger plan for me.
So good, but hard to do. The letting go, right?
Hard to do. Yeah. Yeah. Because you also want to feel like you're being proactive. You don't just want to be sitting around and not doing anything. So it's a very fine balance of, how much do I fight? How much do I try? And how much do I let go?
Yeah. And now here you are in this beautiful love story written for the ages. A mother ×2, wife, actress, singer. Y'all, this girl can sing. Let me tell you. But just all of these things, doing all of them at such high levels. And, when I meet people like you, I always pull this question out off the shelf, because I think you are an inspiration for so many. You've inspired me already. When I see you, I think of two words: multifaceted, for sure, and passion, like overflowing passion that drives you, that guides you. I wonder, do you think we can do it all? Like, when you think about that idea of work-life balance, we've heard those words before. There's all these conflicting ideas about what balance is. Yeah. And I look at you and I think, yes, it confirms that we can, but some people will say too much. We can only do a couple of things well. What are your thoughts on all of that?
I love this question. I think about this all the time, and I feel like, can you do it all?
Right.
Yes and no. You can. Yeah. I think for me, I cannot do it all, because here's what it comes down to is that if I say yes to something, I'm saying no to something else. Right. So something's going to give in that moment. So if I am saying yes to, let's say I'm taking a job, I know that my family will get less time of me, as a mother, but I have a supportive husband. I have a supportive partner who's there to back me up. I know it'll be for a certain period of time, and then I will be full mom again. Yeah. So I sort of feel like, can we do it all? Yes and no. I just think it comes at a cost, and you have to decide what your tipping point is, how much you can and can't do for yourself. And I think people have different levels of that, And I often struggle with mother's guilt and knowing how much, because I really want to be there for my kids. I want to be around them. I want to be part of their growing experience. That is such a
real thing, Michelle.
It's a real thing. Yeah. And so I'm dying to go to work, and I get to work and I'm there and I'm happy and I love it. And then I just miss my kids. And I'm calling home way too many times. And then I'm home, and then I really want to be at work. And so it's this finding this balance of the two, right? And I love what I do. I love being home. And so I think because of the nature of my job too, I'm not a 9-to-5
right
schedule. So there's intense periods at home. There's intense periods at work, and it just kind of works out. And I think that my family, we've always known that. So it's nothing new to us. And I have a husband who fills in those gaps, and we try to pick up the slack for each other. So.
Oh, I love what you're saying. And, I not on the script, but I know you're good for it. For someone that's struggling with mother's guilt, what kind of things do you do to help you sort of,
Well, the one thing I always do is I'm really, really good at, and I hate this word self-care, but I'm really good at making sure that I am getting a little bit of what I need. So for me, I'm a runner. That's what I love to do. And that just kind of gives me what I need for the day, even if I have to get up really early and do it. And then I just try to really look at it objectively. Like, my children are going to be fine because their mother is there. She's supportive. She knows what's going on. She may not be there at all moments, but dad can pick up that slack. You know, we have very good co-parenting here. And then I also know it's great for kids to see their parents doing what they love. And my children know that I'm passionate about what I do. And I think the mother's guilt comes more when I haven't connected with my kids. So as soon as I've connected with them again, then it kind of goes away. And I feel like we're back in sync again. It's those moments when you're kind of out of sync with your family. And, you know,
I love that.
My job is so mental. It's so mentally, like, I have to really be focused.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can't offer that to my family. So
yeah. And what I'm hearing you say is, you know, find that support system, whether it's a husband or friends, or just sort of you build your own family community, really carving out intentional time to sort of reconnect and like recalibrate, reset with the kids. But also to not feel guilty to pursue the things that you feel called to do, passionate to do. And know that that's okay. We can do those without sort of feeling like a bad mom. That's so good. That's so good. Yeah. And when we speak about work, as you said, your work is not typical, Miss Michelle. So you were on DCs The Flash, a favorite in my household. My kids eat it up. They love it. And you play Nora Allen. You play the mother of Barry, which is really the mother of Flash, for those that don't know. But what you need to know as well, people, is that her storyline is really central to the whole story arc, isn't it? It's this pursuit of trying to reset time and try to rewrite some wrongs without spoilers. And it's such a central role. I've been devouring episodes since I knew we were going to be speaking. And and I just wanted to know, because I look at all the facets of who she is, and I got to know, what would you say you are similar to? Like your character, your personality. Are there parts of Nora there that you can really identify with? And are there parts that you're like, I am so not her in this area?
I mean, because, you know, one of the main parts of Nora is that she is this mother figure. And she's got this beautiful relationship with Barry Allen. And that to me from day one was easy to play. Like, I understand the mother-son relationship. I have two sons. To me, that relationship is just so easy to step into as an actress. The cool thing about the show is because, you know, now we're in season 7, and my character has played variations of Nora Allen in different Earths and different times. And so she looks essentially like Nora Allen, but is a totally different character. And those characters have been really fun because those are very different from me. The Joan Williams character, which you may have not gotten to yet, and the Speed Force, that's a very different character, which is very different from me and sees the world very differently. So it's been fun to be able to do lots of different things on the show. Some nice stuff.
Which evolution did you love the most?
I'm loving the season 7 Speed Force storyline right now.
I love that. And you've been in it's funny, you've been in a lot of Hallmark movies. For those that are obsessed with Hallmark, what was your most recent Hallmark project that you were a part of, Michelle?
Oh my gosh. The Christmas House.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a lovely little Christmas movie. They crank out a lot of Hallmark movies. A lot of actor friends of mine are jumping from Hallmark to Hallmark, and it's great.
Yeah.
They're always nice to work on. Always nice people. The hours are great.
Yeah. Storyline's great. Scenery, it's beautiful. I love that. And, you know, when I think about all the sides of you, Michelle, there's one that really ignites my heart. And that is, I think I'll just put it under the banner of like social justice. I know that you are passionate about speaking up for the marginalized, those that are voiceless. I've seen you evolve throughout social media, getting bolder and bolder. Kudos to you, by the way, for standing up for what is right and racial equality and justice. I got to know, What is fueling all of that? Because you are just fearless. And I love that about you. You say it like it is. What is sort of the driving force behind that? Why does the issue of racial equality and justice mean so much to you? And then I've got an allyship question that I'll ask you. But first, where's all of that coming from?
Wow, I love this question. You know what it is? I think for a long time, I sat in a white body, not understanding. Like I understood racism, but not in the way that we understand it now. That it comes out in microaggressions, the way that it's systemic in our society, the way that, and probably myself included, people say things without even knowing.
Yeah.
And it was like, I stepped into this light maybe about a year and a half ago. I stepped into this light and I started to see things how they were. And I couldn't believe it. I was I couldn't get enough of it. I couldn't read enough. I couldn't listen enough. I couldn't talk to enough people. And I just wanted to understand more. And I wanted to educate everybody I knew around me, almost to like this fire inside me wouldn't stop burning. And I was angry and I was disheartened and I was just all these feelings. And so obviously having a Black son and Black family members and thinking about, you know, Black mothers and how they must feel with their children out in the world and how I would feel as a white mother with a Black son. And it was like, I felt like I had to do something. And I said to my husband, I said, the second half of my life is going to be social justice.
Wow.
I cannot live the rest of my life without standing on a platform. And this is my platform to stand on.
Wow.
And so I just started to see it everywhere I went. And then I'm kind of in that like newborn phase where you see things and you say something and you call it out and I'm sort of finding my feet that way and learning how to have hard conversations and learning sometimes maybe there's people that aren't ready for those conversations. I mean, there's people that are, and
right.
I'm finding a graceful way through it, you know, because I don't think anybody learns by, you know,
right. By sort of force and violence, right? All of that confrontation, all of that. Would it be safe to say that you're in a phase of sort of unlearning? That's what I'm hearing. There's an unlearning that's happening, and sort of a relearning. Yeah. Has the change happened more so as a mother of a Black son? How has that deepened you in your understanding? What are your concerns and fears, even yourself? Anything you could share around that personal connection?
I think it was probably the catalyst for my learning, but I think also being in pandemic, all the Black Lives Matter movements that were happening, it just sort of it was a really interesting time for me because I was seeing it from all different angles. And I see how people respond to him. I see how people react to him. We live in a very white community, so I'm kind of almost not hyper aware, but I watch what goes on around him. I watch that he's different. I watch that, you know, people say things that they don't, it's always very well-meaning. And I would consider myself to be in this category a few years ago, a very nice white person.
Well-intentioned. Yeah.
Well-intentioned, so well-intentioned. And that, to me, it's the hardest stuff to swallow because you don't even realize that you're doing it. And it's so damaging, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what do I fear for? I do fear for his safety. I fear that when I look at my two sons, that one is white and one is Black, and one will be afforded more privileges than the other. And that makes me sad. And I know that my son will have to work harder than his brother, and that's not fair. And you know, there's so many pieces to that I struggle with. But I think
I can
use my voice. I can use my voice. It's all I can do. I'm going to turn people off. I've always been somebody who wants to be liked by people. And all of a sudden there's people that don't like me, and I'm okay with that because I know I'm speaking truth. I know that I'm standing up for something that's not just, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay to be that person.
Yes. And amen to every word. I literally have goosebumps, and I didn't even mean to cut you off. I was just, the hairs on my arms were going up because it's so uncomfortable to say, but so necessary to articulate that there is a marked difference and that you are aware of the different worlds almost, and you're navigating all of this and ensuring with everything you have that both are felt like treated equally and loved equally and like live in this world equally. And I'm so glad that you have stepped up to the plate. I know that it's been uncomfortable, and I know there's probably even more losses in terms of friendships and conversations, but a battle that I think both of us are willing to stay in.
Definitely.
Yeah. To stay in. Michelle, you have grown up in and around the church, and we've shared a little bit about that. And I have a feeling, just even hearing your languaging, has your faith and share any of this. What have your early years and your faith, how have they shaped who you are today? How do they inform the way you live?
I grew up in a very Christian family. We went to a Baptist church, Foursquare Church. I had a great sort of youth experience in my youth group in my high school and junior high years. And I left to go to college. And I remember going through a time of really struggling and really trying to understand my faith, and then working through my 20s and coming and always having that deep faith, but not really always knowing that Jesus is there for me and that I love him and I have a relationship with him, but struggling with some of the bigger things that I'm still hitting up against now in churches. Some of the racial tensions and injustices, some of the ways that we speak about people and we're not inclusive. And so I would say now that I'm a person that has a deep faith practice. I'm a follower of Christ. I'm a disciple of Christ.
Come on.
But I really am also for human rights and human justice. Yeah. And I think Jesus would be for those things, and he would walk on this earth. And so I always just sort of try to go from that stance. I think that my path in life is to walk alongside people and be with them and be with friends and not have judgments. And that to me is what being a true Christian is walking alongside somebody.
Yeah. I love that. And I think, you said it so perfectly earlier. It's the simplicity of love God, love people, serve God, serve people. Would you not say? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And, I think the thing that breaks my heart, and we're just wrapping here, but you talked about, lack of inclusivity and some tensions and awkwardness around racial issues in the church. Hello, somebody.
I know.
Hello, somebody. So we need to be the model. We need to get it right in here. We need to work that out. And I think if there was ever a commission for a group of people to actually know how to love, it should be us. And yet we're getting it wrong, 9 times out of 10. And so I love what you say, because I feel like it was a real prick of the heart. And I hope that people pick that up, that those were struggles that Michelle is seeing and navigating in church, guys. Yeah. It's a hard one, because where I grew up, I feel like I have really moved in a different direction. And I can, because I've grown up in that, I understand it more than most people do. So if someone says to, has a complaint about something, I'll say, but I understand it because I lived in it for so long. But I also struggle with people when I have a hard conversation, not being able to see it and just having a stock answer of, well, it says in the Bible this. And I think, well, it says in the Bible this from your perspective of where you are in the world. Right. This would not be the same perspective as somebody, say, in another country, or someone who's lived in a different experience, or someone who's had generational trauma. We have to be able to look at all of those aspects. So well said. So well said. I think, as I say, you're preaching hard here, Michelle. So we're gonna collect
I'm tired today.
We're gonna collect the offering at this time, and we're gonna call up the choir and just put us in E flat. You're preaching hard. You're preaching hard right now. Listen, we're talking about your early years, and we're talking sort of about your journey of life. And here on the path, we really believe in what we're doing. We're bringing our whole selves to the discussion, right? Mind, body, spirit. And we don't leave that out. We don't exclude it. I'm a firm believer. I've always said this, when I get to speak from one side of this beautiful country to the next. One of the things I say is that storms are our greatest teachers, because they teach us a couple of things. You know, it's not until you go through a hard time that you really get a full understanding of who God is. Yeah. You don't know he's a provider until your cupboards are empty, right? Hello, somebody. And you don't know that he's a healer unless you're sick in the, sick bed, or someone that's really ill and you're praying and wow, God answered, and he's a healer. It also teaches you about yourself. Hard trials, the white flag moments of our life, they teach us a lot about who we are. Sometimes we don't know what we have inside. And then the last thing is it teaches us who our friends are. And as you said, in this journey, and aren't. It's that awakening of, okay, now I know where to compartmentalize you. I'd love to know what are your challenges? What have the rock bottom moments of your life, Michelle, taught you about you and taught you about life and God?
One thing I've learned that used to be very hard for me is how to be alone and how to be okay with being alone. I think in those moments of having rock bottom moments, you find yourself in this place where you're, crying out to God, or you're crying out saying, why is this happening? Or, I feel so alone in this moment, even though you're surrounded by people who are there and understanding. And I think for me, what that was needing to have alone time and just be one-on-one with myself. And I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with. I think a lot of youth struggle with it. We're always wanting to be with people and check in with people and see how we're doing. And we're getting our hit off somebody else, where I really think that if you can be alone and learn that, come out, emerge from that, then you're really going to be a stronger person. Friendships, boundaries.
Right.
These big things in my life: balance, friendship, boundaries, being alone. Yeah. Knowing when to speak up, knowing when to have humility and just be quiet.
That's a fine art. That's a fine art.
It is a fine art. Yeah. Yeah.
So good. So good. And another thing that really connects us, the sisterhood's just getting all the boxes are checking off. Where I'm like, friend, is our burning passion and heart for the next generation. I dedicate my life to at-risk youth because I was one, and so that's the driving force for me. You are passionate about the next generation. Is it particularly girls, boys, all? That's one question. And what is it about the next generation that concerns you? What are your hopes and your fears for the next generation?
I think that question would have there's twofold, like the global generation. If we're not talking about, education or clean water, any of those things, if we're just talking about sort of the bigger issues.
Yeah, just youth
are facing. Yeah. I think a lot about social media and how that's affecting girls and boys. Going back to your earlier question, I grew up with a couple of female mentors in my church who I'm still very close with, Heidi and Debbie, and they were key and paramount in my teenage years. They were somebody that I could talk to. They were somebody, they were people that, had no judgment. They would just walk alongside me, and all the way through my 20s and 30s and now in my 40s. And so I feel like for youth nowadays, that's what they need, is an older generation who's been through it, who may not understand what they're going through. I don't understand what it's like to be 16 now. I can talk to my friends who are 16 and 18 and 14, and they can tell me what they're going through, but I don't really understand because I'm not in it.
Right.
But I don't think social media helps. I think that, yes, I have a heart for girls and for boys. Obviously I have sons, so I see the world through my son's eyes. And I also know what it's like to be a teenage girl and the struggles with body image.
Yeah. Huge, Michelle.
Wanting to be liked, wanting to be loved. Yeah. How social media plays into that.
Yeah.
How we're only presenting the best of ourselves. No one's really seeing the real stuff.
This false sense of like what beauty is and perfection is and all of that, right?
Yeah. And I heard a podcast recently. I can't remember where it was, but the woman was saying that an average girl takes something like 100 pictures to pick, to choose one that she puts on her social media. And I just thought, that's so,
Right. And I would say for me, I'm hearing that, Michelle, and I'm thinking, okay, that borders either on deep insecurity or major narcissism. It's like, what's going on?
Yeah. And, look I have social media accounts. Like, we're all sort of playing, I think by being part of it, we're all sort of playing into a role, right? Yeah. And so I have to kind of always check myself about, why are you posting this? What's the purpose of posting this? Like,
oh, that's good. Oh, that's good.
I still do struggle with it,
But that's good. Like this sort of call to accountability for us who are mentors, who are the ones that they're looking up to be more intentional with how we use social media as well. Yeah. So
I don't know what that would be like to be a 15-year-old girl, a 15-year-old boy, and
it's a lot.
What they're getting that,
Yeah, what they're going through now, we never had, for sure. Yeah. I'd love to close out before I get to my last surprise question, which you didn't know about. Surprise! Oh, yay! Or you're like, oh, what is your hope? I'd love to hear your heart. Just let it bleed out. What's your hope for boys and girls growing up in this time?
That they would be surrounded by strong adults that love them and care for them, that they would have resilience and self-love, that they would find their tribe of people that they could be with and that they could feel loved and seen, and that they would find a true sense of belonging. I think belonging just really is the key to so many things.
So many things. Oh, yeah. Michelle Harrison, you are everything I thought you'd be and more. So down to earth. I don't know how you do it, because your head could be as big as this room, with all due right, but it's not. And I think that's why you are the way you are, and that's why you're my people now.
You're my people.
I said I'm severely allergic to fake. I get hives.
I know.
And my tongue swells, and I can't talk to you.
I can't.
And I feel like you've been like this all your life. I don't think that this so-called sort of fame, notoriety, influence has changed you in any way. I feel like you're the same.
I think so. Yeah. I can't do fake either. I already struggle going to out social events and really I struggle with small talk. I really struggle with it. I have to kind of prep myself for it, and I can do it, but I find it hard. I find it really, I find this so much more fulfilling. I find small talk exhausting.
So 30 seconds, wait a minute. So all the red carpet stuff, all the premieres, all of that, lights, cameras, Michelle is actually awkward and thinking, oh
my gosh.
Really?
Yes.
This is the best.
I was a really awkward 15-year-old girl. I was, and I think I remember my grandmother used to say when she was in her 70s, I still feel like that awkward 25-year-old girl. And I think we all do. I think we all, whatever that age is for us, that we carry that with us.
Wow.
We can shed it and we can leave it, but I know that feeling. I try to remember that when I go out, that everyone's feeling like that in their own way. We just cover it up in different ways.
Oh, so good to know. Miss Michelle, how do we stay in touch with you? I was going to say stalk you, but you know what? Here's the thing. With every podcast, I make that as a joke. How do we stalk you? But then I realize in your world, that's a real thing.
You could actually stalk me. Yes.
So let me change the language. How do we follow you and track with you and kind of keep up with what you're doing?
The best way would be to go to Instagram, Michelle. I think it's Michelle N. Harrison. I better check now. I'm not really on Twitter much. And Instagram's my platform.
Are you ready for your surprise question? We're hitting home base. Yes. Okay,
let's
good. Okay. So in light of everything that we talked about, in particular, I'd love to have these two things in your head as we go. Sort of the challenges that our next generation are facing, all of those obstacles we spoke about, and the racial tensions and biases that we struggle with in and out of church. Any one of those draw from. I want you to finish this sentence. What is it time for, Michelle? What is it time for? And you just say it's time for, and let it rip.
It's time for people to listen to the voices of Black, Indigenous, people of color. It's time to keep going.
Yeah. Oh, please. You hit me so hard.
Time to listen.
Go for it, Michelle.
To believe people when they say they have an experience.
Yes.
It's time to step out of your box and look at the world through a different lens. It is time to advocate.
Come on.
It's a time for change, and it is a time to shake everything up that we've ever known.
It's time to, I'd love for you to say that one more time because that hit me hard. It's time to shake up everything we thought we knew. Is that what you said?
It is, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I want to flip that. Here we go.
Yeah.
So we've just talked about what it's time for. What is it not time for anymore?
Adversity. Trying to be right. Not listening to people. Not time to sit on our soapboxes. It's not time to be judgmental.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to just open the altar at this time. We're going to open the altar and I'm just going to ask folks, listen, Michelle, you could easily step away from being the most awesome actress that you are and just stand on a soapbox and I'd follow you anywhere you go, lady. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you for being on the path today. I'm so happy to meet you. Listen, I can't wait to actually meet you. Right. Right. And I'm always speaking out your way. So we definitely have to connect. And yeah, thank you so much. And listen, any last words for that young teenage girl who we have a lot of that just tune in and just something that they can take away with them off the table? The things you think in life that are important and you're struggling with may not be important years down the road. Look at the people around you, find true friends, find an older female or male that you can look up to that aren't your parents. Take time to love yourself and just figure out what makes you tick and stick with that and find your people. Well, I found mine. I found mine. Her name is Michelle Harrison. Michelle, thank you so much for being on the path. And it's been such a joy. Thank you so much. Thanks so much. It was awesome. Wow, what an incredible conversation with such a down-to-earth woman. I'm telling you, I found my tribe in her. She is real, raw, authentic, and honest. And I'm so very thankful for Michelle stopping by on the path. And I learned so much about her journey. And one of the biggest things is that we do not live for ourselves. We need to make this world a better place. We need to push for change, push for equality, stand up for what's right, and also be a mentor and a model to those that are coming up. You know, we have so many eyes that watch us, guys, and everything we do needs to be intentional in this season. And I am so thankful for that reminder today. Michelle is a powerhouse, and I'm so inspired, guys, that we can, as women, do it all and do it well. Until then, guys, I want you to keep living, keep learning, keep loving, and I'll see you on the path.
Thanks for listening. Please like, download, and subscribe. This has been an Inclusivity Media production.